Alright guys, so here's the thing. I'm waiting for the UPS driver to show up at my front door. I'm like a kid on Christmas morning. Alright, so here's what's going on. My Bowie Tactical Concepts custom frame. I sent him my Glock 19 frame and he did some magical stuff on it, sent it back to me, and today is the day that it arrives. And like I said, I'm like a kid on Christmas morning. I just can't wait. I'm following the UPS truck around on that follow my delivery thing. I'm like, he's so close, he's in my area. He's on my street. He's gonna be coming around the corner any second. Look what I got. Boom, Bowie Tactical Concepts. So this is my very first time to see this, other than in pictures. Wow. I know you really want to see. So, there you go. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, hang on. Alright guys, so let's start out with just looking at the BTC Glock 19 on the table. I'll show you everything that's been done to it from David over at Bowie Tactical Concepts. There's a few things I did myself that he did not do. The trigger shoe, for example, is something I did on my own. I also do my own trigger work and polishing. And the Kagwerks raise and extended slide release, that's something else I added after the fact. Everything else pretty much though was done by David Bowie. So the way I had this done, sort of awkward because I had it done in two parts. Originally I had the slide done and I didn't have my slide done. It was actually the slide off of this gun. This was my Glock 19 Sniper Gray Cerakoted pistol I bought this summer. This is the one that sort of got me revisiting Glock, getting back into the platform from this, which is my Carry 1911, but more on that later. Anyway, so what I did is, instead of sending him this pistol to be modified, originally I was just mostly interested in adding the RMR. I really wanted to switch to the RMR as a sighting platform just because of how my eyes have aged and it a little bit more challenging. Front sight acquisition, pretty much everything was threat focused sighting anyway because I couldn't really focus on my front sight. So for carry and in just general use, I decided I wanted to go with the red dot. I selected the RMR RM07, which is the 6.5 MOA, and I said, hey David, I want you to build me a slide. So again, I kept carrying this gun as is, and then what I did is I ordered, actually through David, I said, hey Dave, let's get a slide, buy a parts kit, buy an RMR, and you do all that for me, send me the slide. So the slide on a pistol, on a handgun, is not the controlled part. It's not the registered part. The slide is not the firearm, the frame is, okay? So I can have him just build all that and then get it to me, and then I'm good to go. So that's really what I did here. So this is a Lone Wolf Distributors slide, just their basic slide, nothing fancy. It came with no milling. It was basically an OEM replacement slide. It's pretty much identical with the exception of you don't have Glock markings and branding on it, no serial number. Other than that, it's pretty much identical to the Glock OEM slide. And then I also had him put in the Glock parts kit. So all the springs, the firing pin assembly, the safety, all that stuff is factory Glock parts that he put in there for me. The RMR again is the RM07, and I picked the Trijicon RMR just because of its durability, reliability. I like the features of being able to have it set to auto adjust to lighting conditions, or I could manually adjust it. Right now it's manually adjusted, and I like the battery life out of it. I just like everything about it. So I had him do the custom milling work for this. I also had him put the backup iron sights in front of the RM07. And the reason for that, twofold. So one of the reasons is just from a view perspective, I have full access to that window in the optic. If I had the backup iron sights, my traditional iron sight in the back, I would be blocking the lower third of that window. So this gives me full access, but if I look through the window, I can still see the full sights. Now, yes, the sight radius is going to be a little bit shorter. I basically moved it forward, I don't know, 3 inches or so, 2.5 inches. Doesn't really matter. First of all, these are backup iron sights, but that sight radius, you know, a subcompact has a sight radius just like that, and they shoot just fine. So I can handle the reduced sight radius for the benefit of putting them in front of. The other reason why I like having them in front is brass will tend to eject back and hit the glass if it would basically be moved up where the sight is. And you wouldn't think so. I mean, normally brass is going to eject out the side, maybe out and back a little bit, but every once in a while one gets hung up on the extractor and it like seems to flip it straight back. And a lot of guys running red dot optics tend to find their glasses get nicked or dinged or scratched. Even on the I don't think I've got any marks on there now since I've cleaned it the last time I shot, apparently. But every once in a while I'll get little brass dings on this front sight, so I know brass is getting back there, but it sort of just blocks it from getting into that glass, kind of protects it a little bit. So that is a benefit of putting backup iron sights in front. But again, the primary justification for me is getting full access to that sight window, and the iron sights just disappear. They're not distracting to me because I'm just looking through the glass, and that dot overlays even on top of the sight. Here, I'll change the focus a little bit so you can see how it would look. So now the dot is in focus because I'm focused on the thread, in this case my little mat, and that's what it would look like. And you can see the iron sights just, you know, don't interfere with the dot at all, even if I get way down there in the bottom of the window. So that's how that works. So yeah, so did that, the RMR, basically like I said, I had the slide, the RMR, the parts kit, I had David order all that stuff and just had it shipped to him. He built it for me. So he did the milling, and the way he mills for the red dot, I really like. So a lot of guys will just mill it out generically, and then you use the mounting screws to hold it down to the slide. What David Bowie does is he mills out and then leaves the bosses in the front. I'll throw some pictures and video up here for you. But that's going to secure the optic to the slide. The screws are just sort of holding it in place, but they're not responsible for indexing and positioning. And it's just a better way to do it. There are other guys who do it like that, but there's a lot of people doing optic milling that do not do that. And you can buy a lot of pre-milled slides that do not have that feature. Anyway, so some other things that he did, some smoothing of the slide. Some of these areas here are sort of dehorned. I could have had him round this nose out a little bit, but you know, I don't really care that much, and I kind of like the Glock blocky squareness, but he did sort of smooth that out. I don't know, it might be hard to tell in comparison. Here's the factory one. It's kind of got some edges to it, where this is a little bit more smooth than rounded. And then I had him put on the Amerigo suppressor height sights. These are just plain black sights. Again, these are for backup, so I don't need night sights. I don't really need the distraction of more dots. I just want that red dot to pop when I look through there. So that's why these are solid black. And yeah, and then I had him Cerakoted. He actually Cerakoted in Sniper Gray because originally it was on this gun, which is Sniper Gray. And so you'll notice some similarity there. But the frame now that I have is black. So the frame I had done separately. What happened is I got the slide, and then I realized in the end I just wanted the full BTC package. So I literally went out and bought another Glock 19 just to send him. And then what he did to that was his sort of custom grip reduction. And what it does is it narrows the grip, makes it a little bit more parallel, and it gets rid of that Glock hump. A lot of people don't like the Glock hump, including myself. But one of the things it does is it gets, you know, your hand, the narrow part of your hand is down here and the wider part is here. It's just how your hands work. For some reason, the Glock is designed like this when it should be like that. So what David does is make it more amenable to your normal hand size. And, you know, he's not the first to do it. Guess what? That's how the 1911 is. As a matter of fact, it now has the same profile and grip angle as the 1911. I actually took a picture overlaying them one on top of the other just so you could see how similar that is. And for me, that's a positive thing because I'm a 1911 shooter and I'm a Glock shooter. And then now between these two, the grip angle, the natural point of aim, when I come up on target is very similar. So I don't have to do so much adjustment between swapping the pistols out. But it is a more comfortable grip altogether. And it's kind of fascinating to me because with the factory Glock, with the hump and all that, I'm using on this right now the medium backstrap. And I like a little bit of backstrap. I like a little bit more meat on it just because of the way it's shaped. But without that, I like the narrower BTC grip. So it's a little bit odd how that works out. But I couldn't fully appreciate this until I held one. You really can't appreciate how the grip feels. It actually feels lighter. I'm not sure how much lighter it is. I haven't actually weighed them at all, but maybe it's not lighter at all. Maybe it just feels lighter the way you get a chance to grip it, and the leverage on the gun is different. And then the other thing you can't really appreciate until you feel it is the stippling job. There's a lot of guys out doing stippling, and you know, Dave's been doing it for a long time, and he stipples Glocks for, matter of fact, he builds these guns, these BTC custom Glocks. He does work just like this, grip reduction, stippling, framework for guys like Vickers and Hackathorn.
This particular gun has been upgraded. One of the things from a grip standpoint, it's got a textured surface, and you and I are both good buddies with Dave Bowie. He does an excellent job of texturing the grip so that it doesn't slip or slide.
And Dave Spalding.
I'm Dave Spalding. Welcome to Combative PistolCraft Essentials.
A lot of big names in defensive pistolcraft use David Bowie for his work, and this it may not be the prettiest stippling, but it is designed to be a fighting pistol. It is not a show gun. And one thing that's hard to appreciate and it's hard to demonstrate is how it literally prevents. I think it goes above limits. It prevents rotation in the hand. So even with this, I've got a little bit of a rubberized grip. I had my son hold it. I was trying to be unbiased. I don't know how to describe this in a way that's not going to look like I'm, faking it. But I had him hold the gun, and then I literally turned the gun in his hand just like that. And then I had him hold the BTC 19, and it won't turn. The way this grabs your flesh will literally not allow it to rotate in your hand. It's pretty fascinating. So anyway, so that's one of the key elements behind his stippling job. I had him do 360 stippling all the way around. I will say it's a little aggressive, particularly when I shoot at a range session. You can see already my fingers start to, if I grip really hard, it'll grab that pattern. It's not going anywhere. So in a gunfight, yeah, that's exactly what I want. That thing will lock in. It's a little less comfortable for long-term range use than say something like this, but I didn't buy it for target practice. I bought it as a defensive carry pistol. So some other things I had him do, another obvious one here are the side cuts. And what that allows you to do is get a good pull on the magazine if you need to strip it for some reason. Glock did put them in the front on the Gen 5s. I think they had them on before that and took them away and then brought them back. And most people hate them because your pinky rides right on that. And a lot of people just don't like it. This is completely unnoticed in practical application, yet gives me a good opportunity to strip the magazine, and I really like that. All right, so I did have him undercut the trigger guard, and what that does is allow me to get a little bit higher on the grip. I tend to shoot a pretty high grip anyway. That lets my finger get up a little bit higher, but the other thing it does is it avoids that Glock knuckle that you get from just your knuckle right there running like that all the time. As you try and get really high up on the grip, it's just going to beat up that knuckle right there, and this just relieves that and frees that area up. So two things there: gets me higher on the grip and gets rid of Glock knuckle. I like the finger grooves, so I had him leave those on there. Even with the radiusing right here, it didn't change enough about how I grip the pistol to make those go in the wrong place. They're still in a perfect place for me. I also had him do the second undercut here for my offhand, and just lets me get a little bit more purchase in there. I had him not only stipple the thumb rest area, but I also had him build a little ramp. It's really probably hard to see on video, but there's a little diagonal ramp there on both sides. And what that allows me to do, I like to push down with my thumb. So I get my grip, and then I sort of grab with the thumb. It gives me something to grab onto. On here you can see I had some of this rubber grip tape, and I've worn off the section where my thumb hits because I want to push down right there. And the factory one doesn't allow me to do that, but now that I've got this little ramp there, I can just grab hold and push, and you can see how much pressure I can put. My thumb's turning white. Just a little ramp. I also had him do the magazine release scallop right there, which basically, gives more real estate for getting access to that button. Simple things. And yeah, that is the BTC 19. Again, a little bit unusual to have it done in 2 stages. I sent him the slide, had him do that, then sent him a frame and had him do that, and then married the 2, which gave me back my completely stock 19. This is the one now I'm working with my son, training with him, and this is, now my backup Glock. But this is my carry piece, and yeah, I really like it. David Bowie has been at this for a long time. He's very well known in the industry. There's a lot of people out there who go out, buy a Dremel and some woodworking tools, and suddenly are doing stipple jobs and framework. There's a method to David's madness that has been refined over years and years of working with students, other instructors in defensive pistol craft, law enforcement. He was a SWAT team commander. So all of this stuff came to be through practical use and application and seeing what works and what doesn't work. So if you ever get a chance to meet him or check out one of the Bowie Tactical Concepts pistols in person, I highly, highly suggest you do it. The only downside is you're probably going to want one really bad. Like I said, the only things I've really done are custom trigger work, and then I put in my own raised and extended slide stop just because of how my grip is. And I did a video on that demonstrating why I did what I did there. Now he can do all of that custom work. He can put that slide release on there if you want it. He's got on his website sort of an order form. It's got a whole bunch of things. He'll pretty much do whatever you want as long as he believes it's safe and it makes sense. If you ask him for something that isn't safe and doesn't make sense, he'll tell you about it because that's his business. That's what he does, is he builds fighting guns for people. So